What up, what up? Bankroll 10, da-da-da. All right, y'all, a little something different. 2009 Chevy Silverado, short bed. Very clean Southern truck, like very clean. Wait until I get this thing up in the air and show y'all. The other week we had it in here, we put it up in the air, we opened up the rear end, pulled an axle out just to double check. Internet said that this truck, the axles were 34.25 in length per side. We needed 2 inches narrower for the wheel that goes on the back. That's a 24-inch on the front. The back is a 24 that goes on it. Obviously the same wheel, but it was right with the outside of the truck. So 1 inch to clear the lip, another inch to go under. We got plenty of room towards the back, plenty of room on the backing plate, plenty of room on the housing. Brake lines, I should be able to get them to bend a little bit inwards, maybe 2 inches. So the axles got here very, very fast. I ordered all my stuff from Alex Trick Chassis. He's a Moser dealer. And as you can see, it says right there, if I can find it, Moser. 30 spline, C-clip, 32.25, 6x5.5, 14 millimeter, and it's got the center bore size. 14 millimeters does. We went with the 1.5 inch, or they're 14 mil, 1.5, and they're 2.312 in length. If you guys remember when I did the Trailblazer, the axles came and the studs were too short. So we made sure with this one, we got some length on the studs. So the axles are here, truck is here. I gotta get the truck positioned where I want it on the lift, get it up in the air, and show you guys the underneath of this thing. Got a couple dinks in it, but there is no rust on this truck. Alright, let me get it up in the air. This is a friend of mine that I've known for over 30 years. Like I said, I'm 48. So it might be a little bit longer than that. 30, yeah, well, over 30 years, because I know I met him I was probably 17, 18. Real good guy, real good guy. Lives right out here by me. But anyways, let me get this thing on this lift and up in the air, and I'll show you guys the underneath of this thing. Back that up. Be right back. Alright, y'all. Got it up in the air. Got the back wheels off. 81.9 is what it's reading in here. Might be a little hotter than that. My fat ass in here sweating. Anyways, what I was saying about this truck and being so clean. No rust on the rockers. No rust on the bed. That, the stock wheel, how tall it is. And he had his 3-wheeler in the back. So the weight down, and I'm pretty sure obviously the 24s are about the same height, or a little bit more than that. And there's a little bit of some surface rust right on that lip. But underneath of this thing, look at that. Tell me that ain't clean. Somebody's gonna be like, oh, look at all that. No, that's nothing. But yeah, clean, clean. And somebody's gonna ask, was it a V8 truck or a V6? It's a V6 truck. A lot of room up here. He's not worried about all that power and stuff. He put this kit on himself and he had it aligned. Got Viking. I think those are 850 springs. Double adjustable. Yeah. Forget what the name of this kit is. Tubular levers, tubular lowers. Viking double adjustable coilovers. Boom. The back, you guys can see, got a flip kit. The axle is over. There's the bracket right there. He had another buddy of his put the C notch in it. So, yeah. Like I said, it's gonna be 2 inches. We'll get the drums off, get the nugget open, get the axles out. Before I cut the housing, I'm gonna see the exact difference between the axles. These axles are 34 1/4. I haven't put the tape measure on those. They're supposed to be 32 1/4, 2 inches narrower. Since I got this one on the table, we will go ahead and see with this one. Outside the axle flange. Go to the top, and oh, these are on point. You lean it, you know, it comes up a little more, but when you go straight across, and whatever, you know, you'd have to shoot a laser or whatever. But anyways, it's 32 1/4. So these are exactly 2 inches shorter. So that's one of the things I was gonna do. 8.5 rear end right here. That's going in the cutlass. Pressure washed it. Got it up on the bench. I cleaned the bench off like I said. What I'm gonna do, I gotta cut all this shit off. Did not expect these axles to get here as fast as they did. So I was gonna get this shit cut off, but I'm gonna go ahead and knock this rear end narrow out on this pickup. The owner has the back rims right now, putting some new tires on there because the tires that were on there wouldn't even hold the air. And he's gonna come drop those off, but I'm gonna get to open this rear and get these drums off, get these axles out. All right, y'all, I'm on it, I'm on it. All right. Got the axles out. Look at how fat that axle is. And then it drops to a 30 spot. Pretty fat ass fucking axle. Vacuum plates off. Remember, if y'all remember when I did the Trailblazer SS and I narrowed it, this looks like the same exact flange because obviously the 4 bolts. So the pucks that I had made, this takes a bigger bearing, so the cups that I had made for the inner and the outer should be the same for this. And if the inner is the smaller, I have the smaller ones. So anyways, I'm gonna get this cut. So it actually only ends up being the difference in axles. This is crazy. The stock axle with a straight edge across the top, 48 or 44, god damn it, 34 1/8, and the new axle with the straight edge across it is 32 5/16. So the difference is 1 inch 13/16. So here I was thinking that I'm gonna get 2 inches off of it because per GM the stock axle is 34 1/4. And then per the paperwork that came in the box from Mosier, 32 1/4. But with the straight edge across it. I didn't leave it over here. Okay, so meaning, taking this, setting it up here, and measuring backside or flame side, whichever, it still comes up the difference. So Now, cutting the rear end, if I was to take the 2 inches off of here, if I didn't measure both axles, this, that, whatever, and see what the exact difference is, and this and that. So if I were to cut this at 2 inches, this would have been 2 inches shorter. Then the axle wouldn't have been 2 inches shorter, so the axle was stuck out more. The backing plate would have been bolted on, and then the drum goes on the axle. So then the drum would be out here more, so this wouldn't seat right. And the way that these shoes cut into the drum, then there'd be noise, and then it would have to recut and this and that. It's crazy that everybody with these numbers of being different, I don't get it. Like, they round up and round down or whatever, and then motor, they've been doing it for a long time. There was so many times before that, and then trying to make up that difference and being like, okay, well, here, I want the axle to be 32 and, you know, a half then, so then I can guarantee to get my 2 inches out of it, shorter or whatever, longer, you know what I mean? But then I guess it depends on who's running the lathe and who's deciding to cut it that day, and who's doing where the C-clip goes. I don't know, I don't get it. So, and again, you've seen the paperwork's right here. 32 1/4. It does not say 32 5/16. But when you measure it, straight edge helps you be able to go straight from here to straight here, so that way you're holding it straight up, not leaning the tape. Because if you lean the tape, you know, from the outside of there to there, you're going to get a different number. But obviously, 2 axles, 2 different lengths, you measure from there to there, this and that, whatever. So I measured 3 different ways on both axles, this and that, and I'm coming up with that difference. So 1 inch, 13/16 difference. I got to cut 1 inch. So I'll clean this up with the grinder, and I'll make my first cut, depending on where I'm going to mark where I'm going to take it out. So I'll make my first cut. Obviously the sawzall, you don't want to make your mark here, and then the sawzall don't fit in there. But you can use a cutoff wheel, whatever. But I'll make it to where I have plenty of room to get to it, and then be able to weld it. Wait. So this side, obviously, the brake lines, and brake lines on the back. I got it pushed to the back. I'll be able to stand here with the sawzall, do my cuts, and I'll clean this up, do my yellow lines, yellow paint marker, do the same thing on the back, so that way when I'm cutting, doesn't have to be perfect as long as I know what my number is. Get that off of there. So the first cut, closer to the end, you know, than the second cut here, so that way you're not cutting this whole thing off and trying to chalk this in the vise and cut it. Just cut it on the rear end. So make your first cut, and then take off what you're going to take off. Your second cut. Then, of course, you need the bar and all that, the narrowing bar to put it all back together. I mean, this being as new as it is, you could use that clamp style that would, you know, hold this piece back in play and be circled around there, and then you'll be able to tag, and then take it off fully welded. So you could do that if you don't have the narrowing bar. But so yeah, the Trailblazer I don't think had a bend to it at all. But this being a pickup, who knows what they put in the bed of and stuff like that. But alright, I'm gonna get to cleaning these up so I can cut it. Get these axles out of my way. So yeah, bat that up. Oh, check it out. What that ugly ass doing right there. I'll be back. Alright, y'all. Bada bing. Bada bang. Got it narrowed. This one's still hot. But this is originally where I attacked it and how I rolled into it. The bottom, little boogery. So these numbers are a little different. So make sure you take care of your tape measures. So it actually ended up being a difference of 1 inch and 7/8. So I cut out the 1 inch and 7/8 off of both sides. I marked from here to the back side of here. Original was 5 1/8. cutting out the inch and 7/8, 3 1/4. So I was able to mark and measure, put the pucks in it. The puck that I had cut down for the Trailblazer SS, the silver one, which is right here. This thing is beat to shit. It's still hot. So that had to get turned down, which my machinist was like, dude, this shit's really soft, which it is, because, I mean, I've had them, what did I say, 8 years I've had this bar and pucks. So they've been dropped and beat up and abused and blah, blah. I gotta get a new set. So the inner of this rear end being an 8 1/2, but this takes the 9 inch 12 bolt center puck. So that means, you know, the center section, it's an 8 1/2 rear end, but the outer bearings are way bigger, or, you know, the carrier bearings are way bigger. And then with taking the center out, shim on the right side, cap on the right side, shim this left side, cap left side, boom, the race, all that stays together, because I'm not changing none of that. Just had to narrow, had to put the bar in there and the bucks in order to narrow it. A lot of people out there are still on the fan. That horn blowing was the neighbor's kid in the neighbor's kid's girlfriend's car that just went by, a little silver car. And then the cameras they have in that tree right there with the alarm, they keep setting the alarm off. That's hilarious. They finally graded it all out for the final time and actually put down grass seed. Now there's grass seed over there, so hopefully grass will start growing, or he'll allow grass to grow this time before he tears it up again. But it only took like 250 times of grading to get it, you know, smoothed out. It is a lot lower than what it was, so maybe the drainage will be a lot better now than flooding my area. Flooding 6 foot onto my, anyways. Same thing over here, blah, blah, marked it, boom, 5 1/8 ended up being with that cutout. And like I said, nice little bugger. Originally where I tacked it, and I didn't realize my machine was on A on heat. So then when I came back over it, this side's still warm too. But I beveled the edges, I beveled it to a point, and then I filled in the center and worked it out. But where the tack was, it came out, whatever, nobody's gonna see it. Little same thing right there. Again, I'm gonna have to show you that, but. So I'm gonna clean out the tubes because of the grit in there from Sawzall, any debris, whatever. Clean out the pig inside there. Boom. We have the brand new Precision bearings, which this bearing is the bigger outer bearing. So this is 24-150. That's one number. 513067. Yeah, that's the number they go by. 513. See what focuses. 513067. Precision. And then the seals, of course. Okay, I'll give you the seal number back. It says GM parts, genuine parts. 12471686. There's the seal for Silverado 8 1/2 big outer bearings. 09. That was the 09. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna pop this back in. I'm not sure if I did that or if it was like that, because I don't see nothing disturbed here. And anyways, I noticed it. Might have done it. I got the shit out of the brake lines. Should be able to straighten those out a little bit. But yeah. Obviously got the new axles over there. I'll give this a little more time to cool off before I tab the bearing in there. I tried to set it in there, but it was tight. And yeah, this one, because the e-brake cable comes behind, I had to put a strap up there to hold this out of my way for when I was using the Sawzall to cut. So I cut the first cut off on this side to be able to get the Sawzall in there, and then the way the Sawzall's offset, then I made this cut from the back side. Obviously vice versa for that side. Yeah. Alright, dude is on his way here with the back rims with brand new tires. I'm pretty sure he's on his way. He told me he'd be here today, so that's fine. I'll put a little paint on this. I think this U-clamp needs to be tightened up some more. Wait, what did he cut it off? I'll check these. I don't think it's got many miles on it since he lowered it. But, yeah, I'll put a little paint on here. And bolt the backing plates and shit back on it. Get the bearings in there. Alright, y'all. 09 Silverado. Back at it. Got that up. Alright. As you can see, the back wheels are sitting right here. I know I said that it had a lip. It's not much of a lip. It's just however the offset is. Basic lip, but now these are intros, so however the center sits, they were sticking out. But yeah, 24 by 10, 11 overall, 255, 30. Let's see, where's that? Oh yeah, 295, 30. ZR24, 295, 30. He wanted some sidewall. Fronts are 275, pretty sure. 275, 30, 24. So, got the decals on there for the motor axles. The date code was 12/10/24 is when they were made, and then of course they, they told them off the shelf, cut them to 35, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Put a little bit of paint in there on the weld. These brackets, I noticed this before about these, how they're sitting, and I'm like, how the hell this is like a hinge. So somebody else said they had to weld, which I'm pretty sure that's what these notches are for, so that way you can put a little weld in here so it doesn't hinge. So you asked me to throw some welds in there, so I'm gonna do the back side right there, 1, 2. I'll do 1, 2, and it won't move. I'm doing the same thing to this one. 1, 2, whatever. Try not to get the washer, but it doesn't matter if I do get the washer. Those bolts are a little short. You see that? They didn't even get to the lock. I don't know. I don't know why it's lowered. All this is a flip kit. That lowered. Yeah, the brake lines are a little long. He said he'll deal with the brake lines later. But why wouldn't you just make a drop shock? Because to change from this location to this location, if you just made the shock, I mean, this isn't even, what, 2 inches? You just made the shock 2 inches shorter. It doesn't need to travel all that, so I don't understand that. All these years of mini trucking and lower trucks and everything. But yeah, so. Yeah, cover's on. It's got a GM gasket on there that is a real nice gasket, so I didn't have to use no gasket maker. It's like a rubber gasket with grooves in it that press, and last time when I took it off so we could take the axle out so we could measure everything to make sure we were getting the right shit and know what that one was, I threw the cover back on, put juice right back in it, and it didn't show any leak. So now that I said that, hopefully it still doesn't leak. But I cleaned it all up, cleaned the inside out, cleaned the axle tubes out, all that. Now I'm gonna put the juice in it. No, I'm not gonna use that. It's got too much metal in it, and it had a lot of metal in there. But I got brand new ones on the shelf over there that I'm gonna go in here. But I am going to throw the wheels up on here. And we got the new lug nuts for the back, which are like the front. Chrome 14 mil. They should work just fine because these studs are only just a little bit longer. But the wheel's pretty thick, you know. Let's see the back of this one. You know, the hole's pretty deep. Yeah, that should be fine. All right, y'all, I'm gonna get these wheels bolted on, get this juice in here, and get it set down on the ground. Well, weld those. Tack weld those, weld them in with our shock brackets. All right, y'all, be right back. All right, y'all. I don't know if anybody noticed this. The front wheels were on backwards. Then I had to ask him if he wanted a direction like that, but the tires on the front are directional. So I just went and switched the front tires around, or front rims around. Obviously, directional, arrows face forward. Directional on the rim, but sometimes with rims, you'll see people put them on the other way because they want to put them on the other way. But the back tires are not directional. They could be either or. So, wheels are on, lug nuts are on, cover is on, lube is in it, welded the shock brackets. And now I am about to, I gotta put it in gear. I gotta put the 15 mil, put the linkage back on the tram and set it down. And obviously you can see from here that wheel sits up underneath there. It sits up underneath there. But yeah. All right, y'all. Let me just linkage back on and get it on the ground. Bend that up, be right back. All right. Wife out there making all that damn noise. But anyways, there it is, on the ground, and out the door. Like I said, he says it's a 2009 Chevy Silverado. Silverado. Yeah, I backed it out. I didn't hear nothing. I just took pictures a couple minutes ago. I didn't feel the wind blowing. But 2.4's intro. It said back is obviously by 10, 11 overall. In the front, let's see how the tires fit on there. The front is a by 9, 10 overall, or maybe they go in the half sizes. I don't know. I looked on the back of the rims to see if they were stamped, and they weren't stamped on the back of the rims. So yeah, there it is. My son out here, take it for a test drive. See how she feels. But I mean, basically, you know, all it is narrowed. So now I measured both sides of the tape. Both sides are 1 3/4 inches. From when you look down at the top of here at the tape, you go to the rim, you go out to the quarter, you go up and down 1 3/4 inches, both sides. So it's ready. It's ready. Let's see. Go up like this. Got some more room right there. So it's ready for a fatter lip than that. And I know you can do 3 inches on these with these, so I could have got another inch out of that, no problem. But as you can see, he has tire rub marks up in the tub from the stocks, but I think the stocks are a little bit taller, and he had a 3-wheeler in the back. So, but anyways, it will need tub work. But you know, they got the truck tubs, so where you can cut out the stock shit and put the truck tubs in there and fit it. You know, you could even fit it to where you just drill in the pop rivet, or you could do those press style thread in. You know, you press it in, you can thread it all together so that way you can make it look decent. You don't really have to do a lot of fabbing except for cutting the stock tubs out. So what I'm saying, there's not a lot of room there, enough for some basic travel. But if you want us to lower it some more, you're gonna have to get into putting a tub kit in it. But yeah, truck's super clean, got some dinks and dents. He's got some PBR guy, I'm gonna go over it and shit. But there it is, y'all. There goes him. Bedded up.